Hey, this is Elliot Fishman. We're live. It's June 1st. I hope everybody is doing well. And this talk is on graduation speeches. We're in June. It's graduation time. Whether you're in pre-K or K or first grade or junior high, eighth grade, high school, college, medical school, law school, residency, fellowship, everybody is graduating. This is graduation season. And at the end, there are graduation speeches. Most of us have been through graduations. We've heard speeches which we can't remember. So there are thousands of speeches a year, some by famous people, some by less than famous people. But the question is, what's a great graduation speech? Now, a typical graduation speech, when you look at all of the college graduation speeches, it's about 20 to 22 minutes. It's well defined. And in an analysis by ChatGPT of what things are in graduation speeches, if you take them all, the good, the bad, dream big, don't dream small, work hard, make mistakes, be kind. Those are four really good recommendations, okay? Conan O'Brien said, work hard, be kind, and amazing things will happen. There's no doubt that indeed is true, and it's probably great advice. Jensen Wang gave a talk last week in Taiwan, said, run, don't walk, if you want to succeed. And that is true. There's a world, there always has been, of competition, of people, everyone wanting to excel. But you need to do more if you want to get further and farther. And he made the point also, you're going to be food or be chased. You have to really think about things. Now, when you read, and I really like listening to graduation talks. They're short, they get to the point. The ones I like the best are when people speak about themselves and the lessons learned. Jensen Wang gave his talk, head of NVIDIA, spoke about how 3 times the company had problems and basically how the company almost went bankrupt. And yet they survived to be the next trillion-dollar company, which they are today. So I think something Jensen has said and Steve Jobs has said, and many people have said, the path forward is not always smooth. There are going to be bumps along the way. And probably, I think many of us know this, how you handle those bumps will really tell you how far you go and will tell you a lot about the person. Everybody is great when things are going well. When things aren't going so well, that's where you really understand what people are made out of. Now, if you go online to Google and type in greatest lectures, there are a number of different sites that'll list the lectures. Steve Jobs always seems to come up with number 1, and well deserved. I think the thing about Steve's talk, it was 2006, or 2005 rather, at Stanford. It was the only graduation speech I ever gave, and Steve was not a guy who gave a lot of talks. He had just recovered from pancreatic cancer surgery. He had just sold Pixar. Apple was turning around. He spoke about his story of being sick, of being adopted, of being fired from Apple, the company that he founded. And he spoke about his fight back. Now he's in charge of Apple, charge of Pixar, sold Pixar, and it was getting in better health at that time. He spoke about work as so much of what you do. And he said, and I'll quote, you've got to find what you love. And that's as true in your work as it is in your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all the heart, you know it when you'll find it. Very, very true. I mean, we all work hard, but it's a lot easier working with the right people, doing what you love, than it's not work. It's really then part of what you do. It becomes a habit. Other people talk about, like Neil Gaiman, who's a famous author, speaks about the fact that you don't there are rules, but knowing what's possible and impossible is a real challenging thing because a lot of what was impossible 5 years ago is very possible today. Again, think about chips, think about movies, think about cars, think about internet, think about cable, think about anything. So, impossible and possible. You want to aim for the impossible. Remember, CT came along 50 years ago. No one thought we'd do things like now, photon scanning, or just very fast scanning, high resolution, rapid scanning, 10 seconds for a study head to toe, not 10 seconds for what was state of the art inspiration in 1980. So if you don't know it's impossible, it's easier to do. And because no one's done it before, they haven't made up rules to stop anyone from doing that particular thing again. It's very important to think of things that way. Admiral McRaven spoke at University of Texas in Austin in 2014. Very accomplished military person is telling you, make your bed in the morning, because even if the day's crappy, at least you come home to a made bed. The challenges of life are never going to be easy, but tomorrow will be better. You need to think about the things that you really don't know, and you might find out. Um, Conan O'Brien, also, Dartmouth 2011, made the point about what people want and what they end up with is never the same. David Letterman wanted to be Johnny Carson and was not. And as a result, my generation of comedians wanted to be David Letterman. And none of us are. My peers and I have all missed that mark in 1,000 different ways. But the point is, it is our failure to become our perceived ideal that ultimately defines us and makes us unique. It's not easy, but if you accept your misfortune and handle it right, your perceived failure can be a catalyst for profound reinvention. The ability to think and do is really where you want to be. You don't want to be copying what everybody else is doing necessarily. Ken Burns, all those movies, all those documentaries in 2016 at Stanford, be for something, be curious, not cool too. Remember, insecurity makes liars of us all. Don't confuse success with excellence. Educate all your parts. You will be healthier. Seek out and have mentors. Listen to them. Bite of more than you can chew. Do not get stuck in one place. Really good advice. You need to constantly be growing at every age. You don't want to be stuck and stop and not moving. I don't have much wisdom to really tell you what I think, but the one wisdom I could say is that you're moving forward or you're moving backwards. No one stands still. There's no such thing as I'm at this point and this is where I'm going to stay. It doesn't work that way. You're moving forward or you're moving backwards. And maybe at some point in your life you said I've done it all. I've had enough. And I want to go backwards. I want to stop. I want to get off the roller coaster, the carousel, whatever you want to call it. And that's fine. That may be the moment where you discover something else about yourself or change your life or change others' lives. There's no wrong answer. But if you want to be pushing, you got to keep going forward. The opportunities have never been greater. Look at us. I mean, not that we're anything to copy, but how we've gone from 3D to AI and constantly moving forward, challenging ourselves, trying to learn, not worrying about making mistakes, but trying to move forward. I think all of that is just so important. You really want to think about where you're going. And again, whether you like it or not, bad things are going to happen. Sheryl Sandberg spoke at UC Berkeley not long after her husband passed away unexpectedly. She had all the money in the world. She was one of the top people at Facebook. Life was perfect until this happened. The question is not if some of those things will happen to you. She's talking about tragedy and hardship. They will. Today, I want to what's next. The easy days ahead of you will be easy. It's the hard days. the times that challenge you to your core, to your very core, that will determine who you are. You will be defined not just by what you achieve, but how you survive. And I think from Cheryl, that's really good advice. It's not always going to be perfect. I mean, we all want a perfect life, and we pray for that every day, every night. But things aren't always going to be perfect. And so it's important to make certain that in the good times and the bad times, you're able to get through. And life is complex, life is not simple. One thing that is important is doing what you love, working hard, and being a nice person. I think if you work hard and you're not a nice person, probably that's not a good thing. I think at the end of the day, one of the lessons that we've always known, but something that's come out of COVID to reinforce, is you got to be a nice person. You got to have empathy. You got to help people. You got to try hard. You're not always going to be right. You're not always going to be perfect. That's only in the movies. But I think showing empathy, trying hard, are all things that are indeed very important, and something that we all have learned time and time again. Oprah Winfrey made the point that when we talk about who was important, in 2019, you would have picked certain things. In 2020, you realize it was teachers, it was grocery workers, people providing essential services. As everyone locked down, the people moving things around, the people taking care of the sick, the teachers, everybody, those were the superheroes. And so in life, there are the ups and downs. There are the things we control and the things we don't control. But at the end of the day, working hard, trying hard, playing hard, but being nice are what determines a good life. And that's our graduation speech for you today. I recommend go online, listen to some of the speeches. There's one by Larry Ellison. It's not ever listed. People don't like Larry Ellison. Larry was Steve Jobs' best friend. He gave a great talk which spoke about him and his family wanting him to be a doctor, which he failed at, and how he changed his life and how he became one of the richest people in the world and what he did. It's an excellent talk at USC from maybe 5-6 years ago. Worth listening to. Just go in there, Larry Ellison graduation speech. He only gave one of them. And with that, I wish everybody who hasn't graduated yet a great graduation. And those of you who graduated already, I wish you a belated great